Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Dave.
Happy Thanksgiving next week.
Oh my gosh, happy Thanksgiving.
It is
mid-November.
Early. Right now. It's actually over halfway through November. It's the 16th of the month.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, albeit coming early in November because it's the final Thursday of the month, but it's the, whatever.
But
it's
it
early.
happens to be early this year, yeah.
But it's next week. And that means Christmas is like 5 weeks away. What is happening right now? I don't understand.
I was just talking to somebody yesterday and I was like, I felt like October was long, but like November, I'm like, what happened? What?
I felt like September and October shot by. All of a sudden, it's like,
I don't know.
I'm prepping to go on the 40th trip in Epcot. It's a couple weeks away, and I took a nap and I woke up and it's like, oh, it's mid-November. Holy crap!
Like literally, what?
Is your house decorated for Christmas? Have you brought in the Amish and the Jennonites to put stuff all over your house yet?
Well, we are. The Christmas tree is out.
Mm-hmm.
The Christmas lights are on the front because we had some nice weather. So Brady put Christmas tree lights out on the, on the shrubs.
Right.
So, and the Christmas tree is out, but not decorated. So like ish.
Yeah, ours is going to go up, I think,
house.
this weekend because, of course, we've got the family trip coming, not next week, but in 2 weeks, which our family's going down for the whole week. And, of course, we've got the agency trip in the midst of that in like 2 weeks, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's like, it's crazy. Jen, how did you Disney this week?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to find something different. I know how I Disney. Okay. I did begin gathering to pack for the agency retreat because I am agency retreat right into a conference over in Disneyland.
Right.
And I have a lot I have to pack, like a lot, because I'm going to be gone for over a week and there are different things I need for either, Christmas events or at the conference, they're having themed events. And then as well as the things I just need to bring down for the retreat. So I actually have to, normally I'm a night before packer, but I had to start gathering.
Yeah.
As I was thinking about it. So,
it's now getting cold here. It's now like right now it's like 35 degrees outside.
Oh, about the same in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. This week it's been like high of 50, 51 all week. So it's been cool.
Okay.
It's been kind of cold.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because when I was a kid, and even teenager, and even in my 20s and 30s, I would wear the shorts and the hoodie, whatever. That's my favorite outfit. Now I don't do that as much because I think as I'm getting older, my body is getting colder, and so I wear that now. Like this past weekend, we had a retreat, not a retreat, but like a picnic, or whatever, at a local barn from church. Somebody was like opening the barn up, and a whole bunch of people came for a little cookout, and it was cold, and I'm like. If I were 31 years old, I'd be wearing shorts and a hoodie and a cap and be fine. Right now, I got on pants and 2 layers on my top here, and it's cold. And so it's crazy. So I've been pulling out all the clothes, all the winter clothes, including all the Disney clothes. I've got my Walt Disney World sweatshirt on. This is a 15-year-old hoodie, which I love. I've got my Muppets long sleeve, my Monorail long sleeve, and there's my Tigger shirt, and there's my Mickey shirt. And like I'm pulling all the stuff out from the closet, getting it washed, kind of doing the whole like, okay, does this smell musty? It's been in a drawer. Okay, this is good. Oh,
wait, I do that too. I'm like, hang on.
Yeah, let's wash this one. Or it's been hanging up in the back of the closet, so it's got the dust on the sleeves.
Oh yeah, because you haven't touched it since last year.
I've dusted since ever, and so we've got to wash that, and so that's been a whole thing. It's pulling out all the clothes, looking through Disney clothes, and Steph's kind of sorting through her ears. She has new ears now. I bought her some the Mickey Minnie Runaway Railway ears with the goofy kind of swivel back and forth, and so those are
cute
about that, and so
those are super cute.
Yeah. The problem with Disney World though in December is we don't know how cold it's going to be. So
we don't.
Like you have to bring 2 outfits of clothes. You have to bring low clothes just in case it's hot. You get down there and it's like, oh, it's 68 degrees down here. Great, it's warm.
Yeah.
Or you have to bring clothes just in case. Oh, it's 48 degrees down here now. It's cold. You got to bring like jackets. And extra clothes, and it's all ridiculous.
You do.
Florida weather.
It's great. Well, California is going to be the same because I'm flying from Florida to California, and it gets cold at night.
It does.
So, I mean, I have to plan accordingly and pack layers. And so now I'm just sitting around going, oh, how many luggages am I bringing?
Well, especially if you go like the World of Color, which then it might be a pleasant
Yes.
night. It's like, oh, it's 63 degrees out. I've got a long sleeve on, but the breeze is slightly broken. It's great here. It's wonderful. You get by that water, World of Color, and it gets cold because that wind is coming off that water. And even if you
Yeah.
stand back far enough, you're not getting misted. So you're still feeling that breeze. And it's like, ooh, why is it
Yeah.
so cold right here?
It is
So
cold. Well, it is. It
yeah.
just, oh,
being prepared for
worth it.
that.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. So coming up a little bit later, we're going to be talking about Pixar movies, our favorite Pixar films. We're going to kind of do a quick countdown, all the ones we've seen, counting them worst to best. But first, let's do a little news. All right, so right off the top here, Jen, the price increase brouhaha, the hoopla, as you would call it. I've seen several headlines, which drive me nuts when the headlines are so manipulative because it riles people up. And you look at the comments and you're like, oh, it's obvious these people have not even read the article as to what the article says, because buried down deep in many of these articles is the actual truth about the price increase.
Right.
Disney did increase ticket prices. Yes, they did, on one-day tickets. One-day tickets. That's it.
One-day tickets.
They didn't say 4-day tickets. They didn't say park hoppers. One-day tickets. So
it's
if
like
you're going...
And annual passes.
And annual passes. Annual passes too. So yeah, there is that. So they did increase in annual passes, but that doesn't affect everybody. For the price increase for the tickets, it used to be something where the tickets were all the same across the board, and then they went to a seasonal thing. It was like per park, basically. Like Magic Kingdom was like 105, or Epcot and Hollywood were 99.
Right.
And
I remember when that
Kingdom
happened.
Were like 97 or something.
Yeah.
And then they went back to it was a seasonal. Like every ticket cost the same, but it was different per season. Christmas week would be different than other whatever.
Right.
Well, now it is kind of a combination of that, where the parks per park, the prices are going to be different for that one-day ticket. So if you buy a ticket for Epcot, it's going to be different price for that one day than if you bought it for Epcot, say in April, than if you bought it for Epcot in Christmas. Magic Kingdom in June is going to be different than Magic Kingdom Christmas week. That's the thing. That's the high price. Magic Kingdom Christmas week, $189 per person for a one-day ticket, which is insane. That's also my theory. This is also Disney kind of trying to push out the one-day ticket buyers because,
especially on the very busy times of year. I mean, that's the thing.
Exactly. They want the people that are staying on property, the people that have packages, the people that, and honestly, if I buy a 5-day package and I'm staying at, Porter Lanes Riverside or something, I would like to be in the park over somebody who just rolled into town and bought a one-day ticket for a couple hours, whatever. I mean, it's not
staying
that I'm
at a rental house
them,
or
but,
something. I mean,
I'm on property,
no,
so
but you're on site, so
exactly.
it's
it
like
is that benefit.
It comes with those benefits. Exactly.
Yes. And so if you, and I had a couple of people actually email me and ask me about their packages and stuff. No, your package has not gone up, especially if you lock in a price right now. Even if they increase across the board next week, if you lock in that price with your deposit, nothing increases for you. If you change your package, there you go. But unless you're putting a one-day ticket on your package, which you have to do separately anyway, nothing's going to change for you. So it's a one-day ticket increase. So calm down. It's okay. It's all right. Speaking of calming down, folks, can we stop climbing out of vehicles on the rides?
Oh my gosh.
Can we stop getting out of vehicles? Guest jumped out of his Omnimover to sit with the animatronics on Spaceship Earth.
I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Who doesn't?
I would love to. Like every time I go through there, I want to climb through some of the steps. I want to go into pirates, and and obviously you get behind some of the stuff, you're going to see mechanisms and mechanics, and then it doesn't look cool, but it looks cool from where you're sitting. And I'm like, I want to go through that door and see what's back there. Nothing, right?
That would be so
But like, this guy jumps out and to sit with the animatronics, and it's done for a picture perfect moment. He wants the picture. He wants to look at me, whatever. Guy, my friend, if you're listening, it's not cool.
It's not okay.
Stupid. It's stupid because you've likely been trespassed for life. And that means you've been banned from the parks, which means you cannot come back.
Sucks. That means you can't even take a picture of the animatronics anymore.
Right.
I want to go hang with the Phoenicians. Who doesn't want to go hang with the Phoenicians?
Exactly. I want to thank them personally. But the other thing too, on Spaceship Earth, and of course somebody did with Living in the Land, the whole cucumber thing, grabbing a cucumber, that was also stupid. But it's a boat.
But that's well, technically people do walk in there with protective gear on their shoes to keep the plants safe. But technically,
Spaceship Earth is an incline all the way up,
literally,
and all the way down. There's a lot. There's a danger factor here. You slip and fall. You fall into an Omnimover. You get your foot cut off. Whatever. It's just damage the stuff. Suddenly, Chapek's like, well, guess we're going to increase ticket prices. Which is probably what happened. I mean, this guy jumped out and they were like, well, let's increase 1 days.
Is there a correlation? Maybe.
Possibly. Guardians of the Galaxy has now announced their Cosmic Rewind holiday remix is coming on November 25th. So next week, I think the day after Thanksgiving, actually, it's going to be official. They will be doing the remix. It is one song. Previously, a long time ago, we heard about the Cosmic Rewind remix for holiday. We thought maybe they would do a combination of Last Christmas and All I Want for Christmas and Trans-Siberian Orchestra, whatever. I don't know, a bunch of Christmas songs. Well, now it's going to be one song, but it's a mashup of those songs. So whatever you hear the first time you go will be what you hear every time you go. You're not going to
Which is like, I'm fine with that for the holidays, but I like the roulette of
I do too.
What song am I getting?
I do too. So
we've had so much fun with that over the
which I'm excited about hearing the new one though. I'm excited about hearing this, and I love the fact this is something they can do from time to time whenever they're ready. They can just change the music up, and maybe next summer, 1 year anniversary, whatever, they decide, hey, you know what, let's change up the songs. Let's pull one song out, put a new song in, or whatever. I think that's really, really cool.
Agreed.
So, I love it. The Themed Entertainment Association have announced the winners of their annual Thea Awards, which are given an excellence of themed entertainment design for experiences worldwide.
A character in Aunt Thea in My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
I think
her name was Thea. Was Thea.
No, Tula was the main character. That was Nia.
Tula was the main character. I think Thea was an aunt. I think.
Well, let's find out.
I don't know. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Did
not mean to pull that one out. But
I love My Big Fat Greek Wedding. It's
such a funny movie.
It's one of my 35 favorite films of all time. I want to say it's still
wow, that's pretty high up. I'm kind of shocked.
I love it. I have seen it so many times. So we are looking for. There is a Tula. We know that. There is an Athena. There is an Aunt Viola. There's an Uncle Taki, a cousin Dicky. There is an Athena character as well. And of course, Dad is Gus Portucalis.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, I could have sworn there was a Thea. Sorry, didn't mean to.
That's okay. Always good for a sidebar. Always good. So there's that. That theme park award was given to the Star Wars Starcruiser. The Galactic Starcruiser has won the award, which is really, really cool.
That's really cool.
So it opened earlier this year in March, and it was given this award basically for excellence and experience. And the other award given to Disney was for the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Oh, I'm sorry, parade. The parade. It's awarded the Classic Award for standing the test of time. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've never really heard of the Thea Awards, but they sound important. So I'm going to take this as a how cool is this? Rock on, go Disney. We'll take it.
Well, it's good. It's good.
One thing you also want to take, if you can, is your Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party tickets, because out of all the dates available that were like 40 days or something when the party started, there are 2 dates left. December the 12th, December the 15th. That's it. I'm sorry, December 13th and December 15th. That's it. It's a Tuesday and a Thursday, I think. And that's all. Everything else is sold out. And so what I tell people, for all the people in the comments that are like, Disney's pricing out the middle class, these parties are too high, whatever. Guess what? They're selling out.
People are buying them. That's the thing.
I have a ticket. It's me. I'm Taylor Swift. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I keep going back to Disney, keep buying the tickets. So that's all on me. So, yep. Finally, of course, the train is once again testing. This time I heard that it actually had some guests on it, kind of rewarded as a couple of people in testing got to ride it here and there.
I volunteers tribute.
It's been 1,445 days since the train has run. We are approaching 1,500 days, 1,000.5 days since the train ran to the public. Of course, December 3rd, 2018. Yep, it's been a long time. So one thing that has not been a long time, though, is Pixar films and watching Pixar films, because I saw one not too long ago. I watch them frequently. They are a part of our daily lives. The characters of Pixar movies, Mr. Incredible, Buzz and Woody and Jesse, Mike and Sully, Carl from Up, Lightning McQueen, Mater, Wally, Remy has his own ride. A lot of the other ones have rides as well. And so these are characters that are there in the zeitgeist, they're in the culture. They are a part of us forever. Yeah. And this is, of course, due to the ingenious people at Pixar Studios who have created these characters, written these characters out. 20 years ago, we were in a world where there was no Nemo, no Lightning McQueen, no Remy, no Wally, no Mater, no Dory, no Mr. Incredible, no Joy, Sadness, none of that, no Coco, no Miguel. It's weird to think
that's weird.
That's a world that existed. I mean, honestly, like, it's crazy. So Pixar Studios, and I won't go into the whole history because it's fascinating. There is a couple of documentaries out there called The Pixar Story. There's a few other documentaries as well that talks about Pixar. There's a book called The Pixar Story, which is fantastic. How they started, how they, they cobbled together by the way, trivia for you folks out there, the lamp that you see that kind of crushes the eye in the Pixar logo, his name is Luxo Jr., by the way. That was one of the first things they ever created, was the lamp
I love the little
it.
lamp. And I love it on like over Pixar Pier in what's it called?
Oh yeah, Pixar and Disneyland.
In California Adventure. Yeah.
Great. And so what they did basically was, like, nobody had ever seen, they took lamps, like little desk lamps that have movable lights and everything, and they put them in this cartoon where you have Luxo and Luxo Jr. and Luxo Jr.'s bouncing around and stuff like that. And they gave the lamps emotions. And it's like, watching this, there's nothing that changes on the lamp itself. There's no face on the lamp or anything like that, but just the movement of the lamp head itself, you can just, it's amazing what you can do with animation. And so starting from that, of course, they created other characters as well. They eventually went into 1995 and released Toy Story, which is the first big one. And I remember seeing Toy Story in the theater and was blown away by Toy Story. It was incredible.
Crazy.
We were a year away from Lion King. Like, Lion King was the year before, beautiful animation and everything, and this was all computer generated, down to like the galvanized steel on piping and rivets and everything on the cardboard, and cardboard was like all corrugated, everything. It was just amazing. You look at it now and you're like, this looks a little dated because we're so used to the animation and how far it's come now. But Toy Story was a big deal. It was a big deal. And so of course we started from there, and the list of films quickly, you've got, and this is in order: 95, Toy Story, Bugs Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo in 2003, The Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, Toy Story 3 in 2010, becoming one of the first animated films to ever be nominated for Best Picture. I think Beauty and the Beast did it before, and then Toy Story 3, Cars 2 in 2011, Brave, Monsters University, Inside Out, The Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory, Cars 3, Coco in 2017, Incredibles, Toy Story 4. And then, of course, COVID hit, because Onward was released in 2020. 2 weeks later, COVID hit, everything shut down. So released it straight to Disney Plus was Soul, Luca, Turning Red, and of course, back to theaters this year was Lightyear. So those are your 26 Pixar films. So what Jen and I thought we would do, I have seen all 26. Jen has said she's seen 21. Jen, which are the ones you have not seen? Which are the ones that are not factoring into your list?
Oh, I have to go back to my list. Hang on. The list of the ones I have not seen, and this is not a slight on the movies. It's just I didn't see them I just haven't seen them.
Got it.
So toward the bottom here, I did not see Luca.
Okay.
I did not see Turning Red.
Okay.
I did not see Lightyear. And honestly, this is gonna shock people, and I won't see it. I will not see Toy Story 4. I won't do it. And because Toy Story 3 ended so beautifully,
right?
I'm in a good place, and I'm not ripping that back off. I've heard too many things, and I'm not watching.
Let's go ahead and talk about Toy Story 4 real quick, because I've seen all of them. There's 26. Now, you just listed 4. That means out of the 20 that were going to be on your list, there's 2 that you have seen that did not make your list. Is that correct, or is there 5 that you haven't seen?
Unless I missed another one that I didn't see. Oh, I have not seen The Good Dinosaur. I'm sorry. I have not seen I have not seen The Good Dinosaur.
That's right. Okay. Toy Story 4. Okay, so we're going to give our top 20 Pixar movies in just a second, but that means there are 6 that did not make our list. Now, this is my bottom 6. This is my bottom 6. And then This is my bottom 6. At the very bottom of my list is Toy Story 4. I hate that.
That's fair, because that's why I won't watch it.
Movie. You're right. What you just said is exactly right. Now, let me just say, it's a beautiful movie. It's beautifully drawn. It's beautifully done, because the animation is great. The voices are great.
I'm sure.
I don't like the character of Forky. I think Forky is ridiculous. I do not like the character at all.
It looked ridiculous.
Also, I think Gabby Gabby was a decent villain. I think, and the dummies and everything that were the ventriloquist dummies around her were kind of fun. It was kind of creepy, and I get the whole setup. I get that. What they did to Woody's character is terrible. It's destructive to the legacy of Woody. What they did to Buzz's character is even worse. They made Buzz stupid, and I don't like what they did with that. I will forever contend that Bonnie is the villain of Toy Story 4, because she's the one that, when Andy was giving away all of his toys at the end of Toy Story 3, and he found Woody, Bonnie took Woody, and Bonnie was like, no, I want to give it back. And it's because she gave those big brown doe eyes to Andy. Andy was like, okay, well, you keep Woody. Guess what? In Toy Story 4, she doesn't play with him. The whole reason Woody gets into his issues, is because he gets left behind and abandoned while she plays with every other toy. You know what? let Andy keep Woody if you're going to do that. Bonnie is the villain. So there's that.
Bonnie, yeah, fair.
There are 3 movies from out of 26 that I just don't like.
Okay.
Lightyear is one of them. Came out this year. I don't like it. I just
Didn't
like
see it.
Turning Red also did not like it. And of course, there are
Didn't
people
see
out
it.
there. Well, you didn't like it because blah blah blah. No, I didn't like it because it wasn't a good movie. I didn't think the stories were good. I didn't think the voices were good. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like what they did with Buzz Lightyear's character itself in Lightyear. I didn't like the Turning Red story at all. Had nothing to do with some of the controversies on any of it. I just didn't like the movies. Now,
Fair.
the other 3 that are outside my top 20, these are 3 that I'm fine with. I just don't know that I'll watch again.
Okay.
Finding Dory is one of them.
Okay.
I'm fine with it. It's a fine movie. It's fun. It's okay. It's just not one I'm going to watch again. It's just, whatever. It's fine.
Fair.
To me, it did not hurt the legacy of Finding Nemo. And honestly, the ending scene of Finding Dory, when she swims up to her parents' house and they have like the shells that kind of light up, it's a sweet little moment. It's that reunification is great. Just, it's okay. Cars 3. Fine. Cruz Ramirez is a great character. I like what they do with the character, kind of a legacy, Lightning McQueen kind of, passing the torch. Get it? Never watch it again. Luca, also a good movie. It's a fun movie. It's just one that I'm like,
Didn't see
okay,
that
I
one.
saw it. I liked it. It was good. Don't know that I'll watch it again. So let's kick off here, and you can kind of tell me which one of these that were kind of left out of your top 20. But we both have 20 films that we know that we've seen. So we're gonna knock these down one by one, 20 all the way to 1. Jen, what is your number 20 on your list of
number
Pixar films?
20 is Cars 3. For the reasons that you stated, I did put it on there. It's fine, but I have no need to see. I have no need to see it again.
Right.
Like, it's fine.
20 for me is Good Dinosaur. It is a movie that I think has
did
been
not see that.
unfairly derided. I think that if you were to see now that so if you had not seen it right when it first came out, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, that movie's awful. It's terrible. It's awful, whatever." There was some controversy on the directing, and the director was fired in the middle of it. Somebody else came in. Anytime that happens to a movie, it's very hard for a movie to recover after that whole tumult. Star Wars story Solo, the same thing happened. The directors were fired halfway through it. That movie was not well received. It's okay. We'll get to that on our Star Wars list one day.
It's fine.
But Good Dinosaur, it is a beautiful disaster, is how I like to call it. It is gorgeously shot. It is beautifully drawn. The characters are fine. The story is fine. To me, it felt like a really good DreamWorks movie. If that makes any sense.
Okay, no, that does actually make sense.
But I would tell you that I would tell you, don't worry about Turning Red. Don't worry about Lightyear. If you have a chance and you have an afternoon where nothing is going on, God forbid that ever happened to you, Jen. Nothing's going on and it's on. Take an hour and a half, watch Good Dinosaur. I think you actually might like it. It's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. So number 19 on your list.
Okay, number 19 on my list is Cars 2.
Cars 2. There you go.
Again, fine. I don't need to go see it again, but it was fine.
Cars 2. Number 19 on my list is Onward. I think Onward is. Now, this is a movie, unlike Dory, Luca, and Cars 3. Onward is a movie that I do want to revisit one day because I watched it on Disney Plus when it came out. I did not get it. Actually, I was planning on going to see it the following weekend, whenever it came out, and then everything shut down. I guess I'm not going to see Onward. Onward
we saw it on Disney Plus.
Yes, Onward is a sweet movie about brothers and everything. And I've seen it once. I look forward to watching it again because I think I'm going to get a lot more out of it the second time. And I might raise it on my list, might lower it on my list. I don't know. But I think Onward is a movie that I really want to revisit. What's 18 on your list?
18. You're not going to like this. Bug's Life.
Okay. All right.
And so I liked the movie, but I don't like bugs. So I literally have even though it's cute bugs, I don't really have a need to go see it again. I have nothing against it. It was a great story and I know it was beautifully drawn. It's not one I'm going to sit down and watch again, but that's because I don't like bugs. So
I'll
there
take
you
it.
go.
I got it. Okay. Number 18 for me, and I don't know how many people are going to like this, but number 18 for me is Brave. It's not a movie.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's again, beautifully shot. When the opening sequence of that movie happened, when you see Brave on the screen and that camera goes over the mountains, it looks like it's a real shot.
Oh,
it looks you're
real.
Really going.
It's
amazing.
amazing.
Looks real. I think Meredith's a great princess. I think she's a great heroine. It's just not a movie that connected with me. I think sometimes there are certain things in movies that when they happen, I'm like, I think I'm out of this movie. When mom turns into a bear, the movie takes a direction I didn't expect it to. And for me, I'm like, okay, I think had we gone to a different way, I would have liked this movie more. The bear thing, we're going to find out when some of these other movies that are just like that. That's why they're kind of lower on my list. But Brave for me is number 18.
That's okay.
And we're shooting through these first 10, obviously, because we don't want to spend
we don't want to spend our time on the last.
Right. 17 on your list.
17 is Cars. And again, I think it's fabulous. I love Cars Land in California. again, I mean, I enjoy Cars, but
Mhm.
it's just not one that I'm sitting down to watch, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm.
I like Cars, and we'll get to that later. I have a whole thing on Cars. We'll get to all those. And you
Okay.
notice you haven't
Yeah.
had any Cars show up on my list just yet. Um, for me, number 17 is Incredibles 2. This was a
Okay.
movie that I was so excited for.
That's
Did
the
without
one
the
I left off.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's
there you
the
go.
one I left off.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
There you go. This is a movie that it didn't meet my expectations. I don't even know
Okay.
what my expectations were. I think having Elastigirl as the heroine of the movie was great. I
Oh,
love her
yeah.
character. The movie is long. It's a
Yes.
little too long for me.
Agreed.
And it didn't connect. It wasn't a movie that I'm
Mhm.
like, man, that movie was awesome. I just walked out going, okay, pretty good, cool,
Yeah.
whatever.
Actually,
And
probably
yeah.
I should have put that on the list and left Cars 3 off, but
Oh,
regardless.
there you go.
Yeah,
So
it's
we'll go with it. We'll go with it. All right, number 16 on your list.
16 on my see, I forgot about Incredibles 2. That's how bad. That, no, not bad, but that's just like how that's where
Forgettable
it is
it
in my
was.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are we on 16?
16. Mhm.
Okay. This is going to be unpopular, and I just touted this movie. However, because I cry, I won't watch it again. And that's Toy Story 3. It's too sad.
Oh,
I love it.
Jen.
I love
Ugh.
it. And it's not because it shouldn't be
Mhm.
ranked higher.
Mhm.
It's because for me, if it's on, I'm like, yeah, no.
Mm.
Because like at the end when they're like going toward the
It's yeah. Well, there's a whole thing on that too, and obviously we'll have some
can't
crossover.
do
We'll
it.
we'll talk
I
about Toy Story
can't.
3 a little bit more, but there is that ending
Yes.
scene where you don't know what Pixar's are going to do. So when they're in
Right.
that furnace, there is a flash in your mind of like, could Pixar really kill off all my characters?
I really kind of thought they would.
Like,
I was
it's
like, are you doing this? Is
Yeah,
you
is it really going to Are we going to do a dream sequence? What's going to happen? They
I was
could
like,
really do
this
this
is
because
not okay.
you don't know the way out. It's like, how are they going to get out of this? And of course, here comes the claw, and you're like, oh, well,
Right.
that
You're
makes
like,
total
oh, this
sense,
is amazing. And so
The claw.
it deserves to be in the top
Mhm.
10. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. But the
Right.
reason I put it down here is something had to be in the bottom 10. And
Yes.
I won't
Yep.
sit and watch it again because
Yep.
it's too emotional for me.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
kind of like you'll watch Endgame over and over, and I
Mhm.
won't because it's too soon. And I'm like, I've seen it. I know what happens. I'm not to watch it again.
Right. Right. So 17 or 16 for me, Monsters University. And now we're starting to hit this part of my top 20 where these are movies that I will willingly watch
Yes.
multiple times. And I've seen some
Sure.
of these multiple times. Monsters University, I thought it was a good sequel to Monsters Inc. Unnecessary, maybe, but I thought it
Mhm.
was good. Kind of destroyed the canon a little bit because of Monsters Inc. You find out how they meet, and then Monsters
Mhm.
University, you're like, but I thought they met over here.
Right?
I'm confused. Get that. I like the character. I like the whole college
Yeah.
thing. I like the Uzma Kappa. I think that's awesome. Again, this movie goes on a little too long for my tastes.
Yes.
I think it is a little lengthy. But yeah, it's good. It's fine. The music is great. So yeah, Monsters University, number 16. 15 on your list.
15, I actually have Onward.
Okay.
And much like you, I watched it on Disney Plus when it
Mhm.
released over COVID. And it kept my entertainment or kept my
Right.
attention the whole time. I thought it was drawn really well. I loved some of the references to different things I thought that I thought were
Mhm.
funny.
Yep.
And I would watch it again. It's not going to be like one of my favorites. Like if I'm picking like the story of Toy Story 3, I love so much
Right.
more, but I would watch Onward again because it is interesting enough for me and not so emotional.
Right. I think Onward it's fascinating because I think Onward is a
Mhm.
victim of COVID.
Agreed.
Because up until then, Pixar movies were an event. You release a Pixar movie, the characters
It
come out
was.
and everything up until then was a big deal because you had all these new characters coming out, and Coco hit the
Mhm.
parks like a splash, Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4 and blah blah blah. And Forky was a big deal. Onward was the next one in that line. It was the 22nd movie released after Toy Story 4. So you had Barley and I can't think of Ian and Barley, I think the name
Yeah.
of it. And so you had two characters that were ripe for the parks, like characters
Mhm.
that could be met in the parks and could be popular, could be pushed really, really hard.
Yep.
COVID hit, everybody forgot about Onward. And it's a movie like I think honestly, I really believe that Disney and Pixar floundered not knowing what to do with their movies,
Agreed.
not having a clue what to do with their movies, which leads me to my number 16, and that is Soul. And I'm sorry, 15 for me.
I would
is
say
Soul.
15, right?
Soul is the one that I also feel is a tragedy in terms of what happened with COVID, because out of
Mhm.
all of these that were on Disney Plus, premiered on Disney Plus,
Mhm.
Onward and Soul and Luca and Turning Red, I want to see Soul on the big screen. Soul is an incredibly done movie. The music is so freaking good. The
So
animation is
good.
so good. Now, again, like Brave, when they do that whole heavenly thing where you got the soul number 22, whatever, it takes that turn. There's a whole cat involved. That kind of takes me out a little bit. I'm like, okay, we took a turn here. Okay, there's a cat. What are we doing? Whatever. So that is why it's a little bit lower. But Soul is a movie that I also like. Onward, I want to revisit, and I just think there was so much potential for Onward and for Soul at the theaters, awards, parks, things like that.
And then
They
were
lost
victims.
something. They were victims of this, and it's really, really sad. It really, really sad. Everything that Turning Red is getting, because you see Turning Red in the parks, there's the ears and stuff. I want Onward and Soul to get that push.
To get those.
I want to see that recognition for that instead of Turning Red. But that's me.
Agreed.
Number 14 on your list.
Number 14, we just talked about Monsters U. And I agree.
Okay.
I thought it was a great sequel. I love the Monsters Inc. franchise, and I think it's entertaining. It's not one that I'm going to watch over and over and over again, but I enjoy it. I'll watch it if it's on. Absolutely. So good movie.
Part where I'm a parent and you are not. And that's why number 14 for me is Cars 2. Now, this is not a good movie. This is not a good movie at all. This is a terrible movie, actually. I've broken this down a couple of times, looking at it, going, okay, well, this doesn't make sense. There's a whole ending scene where they take a rocket across London to get to the Queen.
Oh, yeah.
They're flying through the air to get there or whatever. And guess what? Literally 30 seconds later, everybody else drives up. And it's like
why?
You just shot across London in a rocket and they just drove up. I'm confused as to what our timetable here. This doesn't make any sense. It's not a good movie. It's a complete misfire. But Campbell, this was one of the movies. There's 2 or 3 movies that he connected with more than anything else. This is one of those that we watched every single day for probably 6 months. I know this movie backwards and forwards.
Okay.
He loved it. There was a Cars 2. Like, he didn't want to watch Cars. He didn't want to watch Cars 3. He wanted Cars 2. He wanted Finn McMissile. He wanted Holly, what's her name? The character that played by Emily Mortimer. He wanted all of that. He wanted Cars 2. So Cars 2 for me, it's a sentimental favorite. Acknowledging the fact, please don't at me, people. Cars 2 is not good, but it's an entertaining movie. And
we both have reasons that people are going to add us, but it's reasons.
It hit the audience. It was directed towards, which is my, at the time, 6-year-old autistic son.
There you
Perfectly.
go.
13 on your list.
13. This might be a little high, honestly, for this one, but I'm going to stick with it because I was heartwarmed by the movie Finding Dory. It was heartwarming to me. I love Finding Nemo. We'll talk about him later, but I just was, and I did a whole movie event around Finding Dory. And so just for whatever reason, it struck me right. I enjoyed it. So it's not going to be my favorite, but I like it.
Nice. 13, this is going to be low on your list. Oh, this will be higher on your list, I think. But 13 for me is a movie that I've seen twice. I like it. I would watch it again, but it's not one I'm like, I love this movie. And that is Coco. I think Coco is fun. I think the music is great. That whole Remember Me sequence at the end is like, well, this is kind of sad. There's also a scene, one of the most visually stunning scenes I've ever seen in a Pixar movie is when he crosses over that bridge and he goes into the underworld or whatever it's called. And you see the city opening up there. And there were like tens of thousands of different points of animation in that one shot.
Oh, it's like,
it is on an
stunning.
IMAX screen. It is like, holy crap, what am I looking at? This is incredible. It's overwhelming how beautiful that is. Coco for me is good. I like Miguel. I like the movie. I like the music, but 13. 12 on your list.
12. This might be higher on your list, actually. Oh no, wait, hang on. I have like all these arrows because I decided to like redo 10,
that's why I have
11,
mine in
and
Excel.
12.
I've been moving them around in Excel as we're talking.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. So hang on. I have this. All right. Regular Toy Story.
Okay.
Regular Toy Story. We'll see Toy Story 3 later, Toy Story 2 later. But regular Toy Story, classic, love it. All the laughs. I mean, we've talked about Toy Story before. It's just, it's wonderful. Our introduction to these characters. But yeah, we'll talk about Toy Story 2 later.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, and what I said before, Toy Story is a historic film. It's funny watching
that
Toy
was
Story
supposed
now.
to be, okay, wait, we're going to leave it. Actually, that one was supposed to be number 10, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right.
That's fine. We're going to stick with it.
We'll stick with the 12.
Supposed to be number 10.
We'll know the 10, 11, and 12 are kind of in chaos and flux.
It'll be
it's
chaotic. It's fine.
As we said before, historic film. Watching it now, knowing everything that's coming after, all the things they've done with Pixar, it's really fun to watch it now because you're like, man, everything's going on with this. And of course, the story is Billy Crystal was offered the role of Woody. He turned it down. And he said that was the biggest mistake of his career, turning that down. So when they called him about Monsters Inc., he just said yes, sight unseen. He was like, whatever it is, I will take it. Give it to me, I'll do it. And
Yeah.
of course, he ended up being the voice of Mike Wazowski, which is now I can't imagine anybody
Anybody
doing
else
Mike
as Mike
Wazowski except for Billy
Wazowski.
Crystal.
Exactly.
Can't imagine anybody doing Woody except for Tom Hanks. So
Exactly.
12 for me, a movie that it's more of an adult film. That sounds so terrible. It's an adult
That
movie,
sounds awful.
but it's more of a grown-up Pixar film, and that is Ratatouille.
Okay.
Wonderful story. You teach rats to cook. How do you do that? Rats have feelings. It's crazy. But it's a fun movie. It's beautiful. It's done well. The story is great. Above my kid's pay grade. I mean, my kid watches it. He's like, whatever. Let's do something else.
He doesn't care.
Because the action's not there. The explosions aren't there. You would see in Cars too. But the whole Luigi, Remy, blah 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 dynamic with the villain, little short guy there. And of course you've got the food critic and what. Good. I love Ratatouille. I do.
It's a good movie.
Right,
We'll talk about
number
it later.
11 for you.
Number 11 for me. Okay, this one was supposed to be 12, but it's anyway.
Yes.
That's where we're at.
Okay.
So that's going to be The Incredibles.
Incredibles. Okay.
Which did you talk about that one already?
We talked about Incredibles.
Yes, we talked about Incredibles. Oh, Incredibles 2.
Yes.
The original Incredibles, the first time I saw it, it was not in the theater, but my cousins had it on. We were at a family reunion and I was like, oh, and it was like right at the beginning.
Right.
They left halfway through because they were little and and I was like, what is this? Is amazing. And I just loved it. I thought it was so cute. And I was super excited for Incredibles 2. And then randomly
and then it was
forgot that it exists.
Exactly.
And I love Edna Mode. I love me some
Edna Mode is wonderful. She's one, and she might be the best part of Incredibles 2.
She probably is the best part of Incredibles 2.
Stephanie is also a big fan of Edna Mode as well.
Yes.
And just that whole character is great. Like every woman loves Edna Mode because Edna Mode does not care. Does not give a flying crap about anything. And she's like, pull yourself together. Pop, 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 So
I love her.
So number 11 for me, it's Cars. I think Cars is a fun movie. It's a silly movie. It's marketed for two reasons. One, directly to children, and number two, to sell merchandise. That is what Cars is for. That is why we might end up seeing a Cars 4. We don't know because we want to sell more merch. Who knows? Lightning McQueen is a mainstay, and Mater is a mainstay in
absolutely
Disney lore. And it's a fun movie. It's a movie about friendship. It's a movie about the underlying message to Cars is what is really important in your life. And it's got some adult jokes in it. I like how Mater says, I'd give my left lug nut to have a date with her, talking about Sally. And, I'm trying to win the Piston Cup. You did what, your cup? So there's that, which is kind of fun. I'm just waiting for thankfully my kid doesn't watch Cars now, but I was just waiting for him to walk around going, Piston Cup, what, your cup? I don't know. So
I don't know what he's talking about.
So now we get to our top 10, and these are our 10 favorite Pixar movies. I think we've now moved beyond the movies that we just and enjoy here. These are getting to movies that we can say, kind of love this movie for whatever reason. Number 10 for you.
Okay, number 10 was supposed to be 11, but honestly, I do still love this movie, so I'm okay with this being 10. And it's WALL-E. And
WALL-E is also my number 10.
Is it really?
We synchronized right on there.
Synchronized on WALL-E.
And it really is more of a matter of, it just happens to be where it fell in the top 10 because I could have put it at 6 or 8 or 9.
Yeah,
I
could fluctuate a lot of these.
Exactly.
But it's so good. The love story between WALL-E and Eva, like the throwbacks. Oh, just beautiful.
There's a thing that happens sometimes with Pixar films, and I think I mentioned this with Soul, with the whole cat thing at the end, with Brave, with the bear.
Yeah.
WALL-E and Up both have. We'll get to Up in a few minutes, but WALL-E has this thing where halfway through the movie will take a turn. Whether you like that turn or not depends on that's going to determine whether you like this movie or not.
That's true.
I didn't like the bear thing in Brave. I didn't really care for the cat thing in Soul, so it kind of took it down a notch. This movie takes a turn. It goes to space. It goes to the ship. So do you like that or not? I thought it was okay. I felt like the movie took a slight step back when it did that because this movie, that first half of this movie it's a masterpiece. On the planet itself, the animation and the characters and the facial expressions of WALL-E without saying a word is breaking your hearts. And how he pops in the video of My Fair Lady. And it's like, I'm watching a robot and I'm in tears because he's happy and he's sad. Just, or how he hops on the seat and he pats the seat next to him for Eva. And he's like, and he kind of has that look on his face, which is hilarious, which I do that now. I sit on the couch like a Stephanie. I'm like, which by the way, audience, it is Eve, not Eva.
But it's just how he says it.
How he says it. So, yeah. So your thoughts on WALL-E now that I've dominated the WALL-E conversation. what is it that makes that you love about
The
this movie? Why is
space
it top
part
10?
didn't bother me. I mean, it's
Okay.
not my as visually favorite, but
Right.
to me it had to be there
Yeah.
to complete the story cycle,
Right.
basically. And it didn't
Mhm.
dwell there.
Yeah.
I just thought like basically Wally just kind of like gripped my heart. Like and then like whenever he like reaches out and he holds hands with Eva,
Mhm.
whenever she's like her little pod and she's,
So he like forces the
yeah,
hand over, forces the arm open to
he
put his hand in
forces
there, and
the
of course
arm
can't get
open.
it
I
loose.
was like, oh my gosh. I
His
just
love
thought
for her
it
is so
was
great.
so, I mean, and I do think this is more of the more adult Pixar movie.
Yep.
The adults appreciated it more than the kids,
Yep.
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So
This is one of the best love stories in
absolutely.
all of film.
And
Not
there's
just
so
not
few
just Disney, but
words.
yeah.
There's
And,
so few
and it
words.
doesn't have to be words. It's just the
No.
way it's told in the anime, and it
Mhm.
is strength of the animation. And for me, with the space thing, and I don't want to knock that because you're right, that is an important
Mhm.
part of the story. For me, the movie goes from near perfection to a really good movie when it goes to space. So maybe it takes a slight step back, but it doesn't go into
But
like,
it's not
oh, the
like
movie fell apart. It's
right,
like, okay,
exactly.
the movie's not quite as masterful, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
Number 9 on your list.
Number 9 on my list. That's a great question. Hang on. I'm talking about that one. I'm talking about that one. Oh, there's 9. Okay. Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
It's
Okay.
Ratatouille. Again, another one of the ones you mentioned.
Mhm.
I love Paris. I love France.
Yep.
I mean, I love eating cooking. So there's that. I love eating things that other people have cooked.
Of
So
course.
that was I just thought it was really entertaining. And I did not see that
Mhm.
at first. I saw it on Disney Plus later. I'm like, oh, I never watched Ratatouille. Let me sit down and watch that. So good, so entertaining. I thought it was funny. It was heartwarming, and so yeah, you've already said a lot of good things about it, but that's my
There you
number.
go. I said Ratatouille. That was yours. I've talked about that before. Number 9 for me is A Bug's Life.
Okay.
I love this little movie. It's came on the heels of Toy Story. I think Toy Story. Yeah, Toy Story. It was the second one after
No.
Toy Story.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. It was
Yeah,
right.
because it was. Let me look real quick. I think it was. Yes, it
I
was
have
Toy
it too.
Story, Bug's Life, and Toy Story 2. So it was sandwiched in
Yes.
between two like masterpiece films. So I
Mhm.
think it did get a little unfairly treated. Bug's Life is a very pleasant film, and I know you don't like bugs and stuff. And
I don't.
I think the movie Ants came out from DreamWorks around the same time.
It did.
Not to me, not a very good movie at all. It tries to do a lot of things that Bug's Life does and succeeds. Ants fails. But this Hopper is a great villain. Kevin Spacey, back when we could talk about Kevin Spacey in a positive
Oh,
light.
that's right.
Great villain in this. I love all the thing, some of the one-liners in this, like the old
Mhm.
guys, they're, like the leaf falls in front of him and the ant's like, I'm lost, because he can't go around the leaf, and the old guy comes in and he's like, oh, I remember the twig of 93. I mean, just it's so funny to me. So Bug's Life it's a pleasant little film, and of course, love the attraction, which is nice. So number 8 on your list.
So here's where I have Toy Story 2, actually.
Okay.
And now that I'm looking, I should have put this one a little higher. I struggled with 8, 7, and
tough.
6.
This is tough.
And so this could really anywhere in there, but I do love Toy Story. I
Mhm.
love number 2 with Jessie and the prospector. That one made my heart happy. I'll
Right.
watch that one again and again, unlike 3 because my heart's sad. Like it's
Right.
happy sad at the end. So Toy Story 2 leaves me in a happy place. And I
Oh,
like to end movies in a happy
that
place.
that song, When Somebody Loves You, is just
Oh my
it's, and we've mentioned this before, it is heartbreaking, and it's
Oh
hard
my
it's hard for me to
gosh.
watch because
Mhm.
there's Jesse and they're in the car, and what's about to happen.
Oh,
She's about to get
yes.
abandoned, but like she brings Jesse up, and like Jesse snuggles up next to her owner, and like
Oh.
with the eyes closed, and she's so happy, and then like she's in the box looking at the little slat of the cardboard, and it's like it's just
Yeah.
Sarah McLachlan sings that song, and I'm like, this is far worse than the whole like "In the Arms of an Angel" with the whole ASPCA
Oh, that was worse. That was
animal
worse.
things.
Yep,
I mean, this is
worse.
this is
It was
tough.
so
Number
hard.
8 for me, Toy Story, the original Toy
Okay, the
Story. So
original.
we've talked
Okay.
about those and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, we talked about that enough. Number 7 for you on your list.
7, I actually have Soul.
So okay,
This
all right.
movie grabbed me. I loved it.
And
I
you also
loved it, but
appreciated the music way that I
But I am exactly. I am a
Mhm.
musician. So
Right.
there were things about the movie that spoke to me as a musician
Mhm.
that I think non-musicians, while they can appreciate, probably don't, maybe not as deeply. Like being in the zone with music, I'm like, yeah, I actually know what that is.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying about the cat, but I thought that was a whimsical and I thought it made that funny. It was that funny moment
Yeah.
about controlling the, like, I don't know how to control my body. I was not
Right.
good at this part. And about what it means to be human. So I thought that there were so many interesting nuggets in Soul, and I did think it was visually fabulous. It does help that we all watched it on a big screen. Obviously, it was not in the movie theater, but we had access to a very big screen, and we did put it on the big screen. So
Right. Well, I think that, again, back to Onward and Soul, I think Onward could have been a movie that was there that on the kid level with Cars, with Finding Nemo, whatever. I think Soul could have had that prestige like your Wall-E and your Ratatouille and your Up. And again, it was the timing. It's just everything fell apart for it. And so I'm hoping that people go back and revisit Soul. I want to see it again. Number 7 for me, and this is, like you said before, things can kind of mix and match. My 1, 2, and 3 are set. I can mix them around, whatever. My 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all set. So these next 4 I can move around if I need to. But number 7 for me is Up. I think Up is an incredible film. I think the first, and I've said this before, the first 8 minutes of this is a better love story than 4 movies of Twilight. Up, what they do with Michael Giacchino's music, is just watching it. I mean, like in the 7 minutes in, there are people crying in the theater because you see what happens with Ellie. There's no children there, and all of a sudden things are. It's just like and again, it takes that turn where, of course, you introduce the bad guy Charles Mintz and the talking dogs and everything like that. So it becomes more of an action kind of a romp kind of thing versus just a relational story. But I think it's a masterpiece.
It is.
I think those balloons lifting up is just amazing. I think Up is a beautiful movie. I love Up.
I'll be mentioning it later.
Of course you will. Number 6 on your list.
Number 6 I have is Inside Out, which I think is an underappreciated film.
Yes.
I love it. And actually, again, this one could go higher, actually, for me, even just depending on the day. And what I loved about it is we actually saw it for the first time at Disney Cruise Line. Because they play new release movies, and it was released while we were on a cruise. So we were on the cruise ship, like, let's go see this. We wanted to see it, or maybe it had been out a week or something. And at the end, Brady looks at me and says, now people know the real meaning of sadness. Like, people appreciate what sadness does. And it's, you see, because everybody just wants to be happy because he's in mental health. And he goes,
you need sadness.
He goes,
you have to have it.
They nailed it. And
That's
so
awesome.
I would say if he was doing this list, Inside Out would probably be his number 1 or number 2. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Number 6, and I'll get to Inside Out in a few minutes. Number 6 for me is Finding Nemo. Just a great little story with, I mean, I love Dory and Marlin. And really, to me, you're getting to the point now where these top 6 or 7 movies, I don't want to say they're flawless because they have their flaws, but they're,
of course,
they're not good movies. They are great.
They are
movies.
great.
They are impeccable movies. Finding Nemo is a wonderful story. One of the first movies to ever cross $500 million at the box office. This movie was incredible. It was a monster at the box office. And it's just, you get 2 people, you don't get the stars of the day. You pull in Albert Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres to voice your characters, and the movie goes crazy. I mean, it's just,
but it was perfect.
Movie. It's perfect. It's such a
perfect casting.
good story. Perfect casting. Great visual, great, in the deep blue world, you got Crush and you got Mr. Ray and you got the drop off and Touch the Butt and all those one-liners there. Such a great movie.
So good.
Number 5 on your list.
Number 5 for me is actually Coco. And this one, like I'm going to keep it in the top 10. This one it would never go higher than 5. Actually, 5 is probably the highest I'd leave it. But I do think, and again, there's that musical connection, which I think is, super interesting. I loved it visually. And I thought it was just so heartwarming with, like, at the end, and you already talked about it, like the scene with the Remember Me toward the end and just like weeping, but I thought it was so beautifully wrapped up. So I went into it watching it expecting, like, oh, this will be a good movie. And then I ended up really liking it. So
Nice. Well, these top 5 movies, and I guess you could include Nemo in this. We're hitting the part of the countdown of the ranking where I've seen these movies probably 15, 20 times each over the course of the years. Toy Story 2 is my number 5. I think it was a great follow-up to the first one. I think it surpassed the first one in every possible way. I think the storytelling behind it is amazing. You got Woody, who's now questioning what he should do in terms of his friendships. Does he stay with his friends? Does he go with where he thinks he belongs? Your villain is your prospector, but it's not even an evil villain. He's just a mean guy who wants to keep the group together for his own selfish reasons. You do have that chase scene at the end where somehow or another a toy horse, Bullseye, is expected to keep up with an airplane. So there is that little thing of it's fine. We'll go with it. I love the introduction of Jesse as a character, with the introduction of Bullseye as a character. It's just, I think it's great. I think it's
Yeah.
just a fun movie. It's a really, really good story.
Really good
Number
story.
4 on your list.
Number 4 for me is Monsters Inc.
Me
And
too.
is it? Oh my
It
gosh.
is.
I love Monsters Inc. And again, the big fan. Brady's a
Mhm.
big fan of Monsters Inc. This would be probably his other one in contention for number
Right.
1.
Right.
And it's actually we had a really good friend. He had a really good friend back in the day, and sadly we haven't been able to talk to him for a while. But we always called them Mike and Sully because
Nice.
because our friend was totally Mike Wazowski, like Peg and Brady's like it's
Mike Wazowski.
you know.
That's awesome. Monsters Inc. I love the Mike and Sully connection. I love everything they do with Monstropolis, and
Yes.
you know, all the different things, like the different brands they put on there, the different names they put on things, and different relations to the real world stuff.
Mhm.
I love how they go from the screams to the laughter at the end. I just love
Yes.
all of that. It's such a creative,
So good.
such a creative venture, and I feel like this was the first movie out of the ones, because this was number 4, I think. Toy Story,
Yeah.
Bugs Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc. This was the one I think that the creators and the writers and stuff. The writer, I think, was written by Andrew Stanton and Dan Grissom.
Okay.
Andrew Stanton's done a lot of stuff, of course, directed by Pete Docter, who I think now is your head of animation at Disney, or at least at Pixar. This is a movie I feel like they knew they could build a world. They were like, let's
Yes.
world build. Let's not just
Mhm.
take with the toys, and let's not just take what we know about bugs. Let's actually build an entire world right here. And they
Which
did
was
it.
so cool.
And they pulled it off. The very
They
end, put
did.
that thing right back where it came from, or so help me, is fantastic. It's a great part of
Hilarious.
it. So John Goodman and Billy Crystal
Yeah.
are wonderful in this. All right, so we were about to get to our top 3 favorite Pixar films out of all the ones you've seen, which are 21 or 22. I've seen all 26. Let me do a quick rundown what we got. At 20, I had Good Dinosaur. You had Cars 3. 19, Cars 2 for you. Onward for me. 18 was Brave for me. A Bug's Life for you. 17, Incredibles 2 for me. Cars for you. At 16, you had Toy Story 3 all the way down, only because it makes you sad. I had Monsters University. You had Onward. I had Soul at 15. Monsters University for you at 14. Cars 2 was at 14. Finding Dory and Coco. I had Coco at 13. Toy Story for you, ranking that legendary film all the way down at number 12. You did. I Ratatouille at 12 for me. Number 11, I had Cars. You had The Incredibles. As we get into our top 10, we both had WALL-E at number 10. You had Ratatouille at number 9. I had a different animal. I had Bug's Life at number 9. I had Toy Story at number 8. You had Toy Story 2 at number 8. You put Soul Up at number 7. I put Up at number 7. Inside Out was your 6. Finding Nemo was my 6. Coco was your number 5. Toy Story 2 was my 5. We both had Monsters Inc. for number 4. So now here we go, folks. The top 3 Pixar films, your favorite Pixar films. What is your number 3 there, Jen?
Okay, my number 3 I have as Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
I
All right.
loved Finding Nemo the first time I saw it, and I did see this in the theaters, and I just thought it was such a heartwarming story. I loved all of it. I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was great, and I still will watch it anytime that it comes on. I mean, if it's on, I'm watching it.
Do you cry whenever Dory is remembering stuff and like Marlon's about to leave and she's upset and she's like, I remember things and I'm better when I'm with you.
With you.
I mean,
I still tear up at that part a little bit.
It is pretty sweet.
Because it's really sweet.
Yeah,
and
it is pretty sweet. So.
I just think it's a happy movie. It leaves me in a good place. So
yeah. Number 3 from 2015, which I honestly consider, as a movie buff, considered to be one of the greatest years of movies ever because of the movies that came out this year, including this gem, Inside Out, number 3.
Good
one in our home, of course, with Campbell and he's being on the spectrum. Inside Out was a big deal for him because of the colors, the music, and the story. Expertly voice cast. Amy Poehler with Mindy Kaling. You had Louis Black, who is a very hard R comic as Anger. Bill Hader in this, and I forget the girl's name from The Office, but she's in as Sadness. And I never watched The Office, so I don't know what her name is, but great.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of her name right now, but
such imagination in this movie.
Yes.
To go inside the mind and like create this entire world inside your brain, and to kind of have it relate to the things that go on around you. Of course, that great scene where the dad's sitting there and he's like, the foot, here we go, the foot is down, sir, the foot is down. He's like, go to your room, and she runs up to the room, she storms off, and the guy, the father's brain, well, that went really well, and of course across the table there's the mom's brain, well, that was a disaster. I mean, all of it is just so great. And I gotta tell you, when Riley when Riley runs away and she comes back and she breaks down in front of her parents,
Mm-hmm.
that gets me every single
Yeah.
time. Like I probably have teared up 50 times at that. Every time I walk through the room and that's on, I'm like, I got to keep walking because it's just so sweet and beautiful, and I love it. And as you said
Yeah.
before, with Brady talking about how the
Mm-hmm.
importance of sadness, how you
Yeah.
can't have you can't have joy all
Mm-hmm.
the time. There has to be a little bit of sadness in there, and I just think it's so imaginative, so great. So number
It
3,
was so good.
Inside Out for me. Number 2 on your list.
Well, this was low on your list, but I love this movie, and that is Brave. I
Nice.
love.
Nice. Okay.
I think Merida's a great princess. I loved like just like kind of a different take on a princess film. That was one of the earlier ones that had like a different take on it,
Right.
and I loved the music. I loved the scenery. You already mentioned like the mountains,
How
like in
beautiful it is,
the
right?
opening. It's so beautiful. I thought it was hilarious. The brothers, when the brothers become bears,
Brothers are great.
like that, they are fabulous. I don't know. I just was thoroughly entertained the whole time. And so if it's on, I will watch it. My niece and nephews love it. So that's one of the ones like when we'll put that one on Disney Plus, and they will always watch that one.
Right.
So.
And I'll be shooting from my own hand. I do think that's pretty cool. She's a princess who doesn't need a prince, and she defies the order to have a prince.
Literally, she's like, no.
I mean, they're trying to get her to marry, and she's like, "No, I'm not going to. I'll be shooting from my own hand." And and of course, the guys they bring her are not top shelf material. There is that. There is some of that, and
I don't know. I totally get like how the bear is like not. I mean, I wasn't expecting that either. I'm like, oh, well, this feels like this is not what I expected, but I was like there for it. I was like, cool, let's just keep, let's do this. So.
Yep. Number 2 for me, and honestly, I consider this, to me, this might be the best Pixar movie ever made. Not my favorite.
Okay.
Because it's number 2, but the best in terms of story, in terms of what it is, in terms of the adult themes, also with the kid themes too. And that is Toy Story 3. I think Toy Story 3 is nearly flawless. I mean, it is just the thing.
I will agree from a film perspective. Absolutely.
From a film perspective, how you have this entire adventure going to the daycare, this brand new set of characters. Lotso Huggenbear, a totally underrated villain.
Agreed.
Sociopath. I mean,
he literally is.
At the very end, he's a murderer because he's like, you guys, let's see your kids.
Or attempted anyway.
And he crawls up, letting them all go down to the to the furnace or whatever. Fantastically voiced by Ned Beatty. Of course, you got all your returning characters with Ken and Barbie taking a much bigger role in this film.
Oh my gosh,
Michael
Barbie
Keaton
cracks me up.
So great. Yeah, Barbie is fantastic too in this. Just such a good roll back and forth, And I mean, all these characters are great. Even the sub characters, the Whoopi Goldberg character, the octopus. And you got the big cricket looking guy, wrestler guy, whatever, and just it's such a great movie. It's so much fun. Movie. And again, this one also, this is our movie dome in our house, and I don't know this is a particular order, but again, I told you we watch movies anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 6 straight months in a row every day, and then a new movie would come along, and then that would go 6 months. Rio, which has the Blue Macaws, which now is owned by Disney, by the way. Rio was one. Actually, no, Rio 2. Well, Rio and then Rio 2. Frozen, although only until Let It Go. After Let It Go was over, he was done. He didn't want to see any more. I'm not even sure he knows how the movie ends. I'll be honest with you. Once Let It Go was over, I'm out. Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, and Cars 2. Those are the ones in progression.
Wow.
And I've seen Toy Story 3 probably about 60 times. And it never gets old. It never gets old. It's that good of a movie.
It just makes me sad. That's the only.
Here we go, Jen.
That's my only one.
Oh, it's so great. Well, okay, so let's just pretend like at the very end they don't go into the furnace, but somehow
then I would watch it all the time
as they're on the conveyor belt. Lotso is subdued, and they all crawl out of the conveyor belt before they even go down to the pit. Or is
and then
sad, or
if it ends there, then that's fine. It's the very end.
Right.
It's the goodbye. Yeah. I can't do the goodbyes. I can't do it.
The goodbye is
can't do it
because that
if it had ended after the Lotso part,
to your childhood.
Like I don't even care. Like honestly, like whatever, Lotso, he was a villain. Like I'm fine with that. Like the claw, I'm like, this is fabulous. Like literally at that point, I'm like, this is great. This movie's been great. I was like ready for the happy end. I'm like, oh, I'm in such a good place. This was such a good movie. What? Wait, don't do that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm like, and I'm like sobbing in the theater, and it's pathetic. And now I'm tearing up. Like I can't do that. Like no.
You take that plus the disappearance of Bing Bong from
Oh my
Inside Out.
gosh.
I mean, it's just that's your childhood. Your childhood's over. It's funny because
Gonna make
I
me
believe it was
cry.
Richard Kind, the character actor who plays
Yeah.
Bing Bong back in Inside
Yeah.
Out, played Bing Bong, and he was very upset. They would not let him go on press tours. He was not with the cast whenever the cast was touring before the movie opened.
Oh.
But then he knew why, because nobody knew about the character Bing Bong. No one knew Bing Bong existed until the movie came out. And then he understood why, because if he had gone, he'd be like, well, I played a character named Bing Bong. Who's Bing Bong? Blah, blah, blah. You see Bing Bong out of nowhere. Suddenly that's your childhood. It has that much of an impact when Bing Bong fades away.
Oh, I
Take
bawled.
her to the moon, Joy. And oh my gosh.
Oh,
it's like,
God,
crap.
just stop it, David Dollar. Stop it.
Rough. It's tough. It's tough.
It's so good.
Number one on the list, your favorite Pixar film. Number one for you.
Number one for me is Up. I
can see that. I get that.
I love
I get
Up.
it.
And we've already talked about the best love story.
Mhm.
Just amazing. Yes. And just the whole thing. I love the music. I think it's so adorable whenever, Doug obviously is adorable.
Right,
like,
of course.
Doesn't love Doug.
Of course, I just met you and I love you. I was hiding under your porch because I love you.
Squirrel. And
exactly.
then
oh yeah.
I love, I mean, just like even like the relationship with Russell and how, gosh, Carl really sort of takes that father figure place for Russell. Yep. And I just think that's so beautiful. Like they kind of become each other's family in a way.
Because you find out Russell's like, yeah, my dad's not there and he works a lot and he's just not around.
Yeah. And I don't,
just like, you know.
Right. Exactly. And like when he's there at the, the wilderness must be explored. The Wilderness Explorers. There we go. Like at the badge.
Yeah, Wilderness Explorers. Yeah.
Yeah. The badge ceremony. Right. To me, the storyline, the whole thing was almost flawless for us. And that this is one that Brady will agree with me on because he also loved this movie. Like this was a in the theaters movie. And I did cry in the first 12 minutes.
Yeah. And he grabs the shovel and he runs through the woods and he yells out, "Do you dig the hole before or after?" It's before. It's just, I mean, and you're right. I mean, their relationship is so great. Ed Asner is such a great voice in that. I love Ed Asner. Russell, but he was just all of it was just so good. I mean, it really, really worked.
And just the introduction of Kevin and like you don't expect it to go where it goes. And just I loved how they wrapped it up. So that is my favorite.
Kevin's a girl.
Yeah. Kevin's got babies.
So that is our top 20 favorite Pixar movies. We know that all of you out there will not agree. You should, but you won't, and that's okay. We'd love to hear from you guys at TheMSEPodcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. Of course, you can also find us on Twitter and on Facebook and all Instagram and all those type places. Jen, next week is Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving next week. Well, as we said before, we will have a show next week. We might drop it on Tuesday or Wednesday. We don't know. It might not be a Thursday, maybe Friday. I don't know, but we will have a show next week. A little short show probably, but Thanksgiving, some sort of Thanksgiving show because we don't want to miss a week because my podcasting hero is Ricky Briganti from the old Inside the Magic podcast. He went like 505 straight weeks of the podcast. Jen, we're 131 in. We're 1/4 of the way there. We're getting there. We'll have this conversation again in 2026, 2027.
Oh my gosh.
Jen, we're on episode 506.
Like, I'm so tired.
Are we? Okay. Jen, where can we find you online?
You can find me at Upon the Star. Jen is my business account, and which mainly becomes active when I'm traveling. And then my personal account is at Jen_Novotny, specifically on Instagram. I do post on my Facebook, but usually it's whatever I post on Instagram. So
find me at The Magic on a Dollar on Instagram, and of course, $20 and Disney on a Dollar on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you guys there. Also, you can follow us at Upon a Star Travel on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok and all the places because next week is Black Friday week. We got a lot of stuff coming up for the agency. A lot of stuff, a lot of things to give away, a lot of guarantees, a lot of prizes and stuff like that. You just follow us on all of that. You're going to see all of that be thrown out to you. So if you're ever thinking about taking a vacation, now's the time to book it because we got you. We got you.
We got you.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's I think we're good. All right, Jen. So thank you so much for giving your Pixar list. A great list, a great conversation as always. I am Dave. That's Jen. And hey, don't forget. Oh, one more thing for the audience. I have another podcast called the Deucecast Movie Show. It comes out on Wednesdays. Actually, it's out right now. And on that podcast this past week, that of course was Jen Novotny appearing on the show with us as we talked about November movies. We talked about favorite. We had a great conversation. So yeah, definitely join us on that show. Search that up, the Deucecast movie show as well. So now we can say goodbye. That's Jen. I'm Dave. And don't forget to thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TheMSEPodcast, or visit our website at TheMSEPodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.